Thanks to you, Janet. I actually tried to fill out this assignment.
Sean and I can validate that he told us that.
And I just did mine this morning.
Oh,
So you got it to work in some way, or?
I did, can we, because I think what's out, not what's posted, but I think what's out there
Yeah.
is probably, can you
I'm
put
working
that
on
up? That would be awesome.
Okay.
And then if we can display the latest, then we can try to plug in the rules
Okay.
and put
All right, okay.
Paul on everything.
Do you want me to hold
He's
the
not
laptop
here.
like over here so you can see it, maybe?
Sounds like that's the way it's going. I heard something
I
about that before the
know.
meetings. Yeah.
You
Wait, it says pin? Why is it
normally say
No,
you
it's man,
gotta
101.
show up to play,
He's
but
better at this.
101,
Yeah,
right?
all right.
boy.
he should.
But it asks for a pin.
This control K, oh, the pin is
No, oh,
1, 2, 3,
security.
4,
I
5,
think
6,
meant pin as
7,
in P-E
0.
and-
Oh, no.
1 through 7, 0.
1, 3, 7.
No, 1 through 7. 1, 2,
Oh,
3,
it's
4,
the
5,
same
6,
one.
7, 0, yeah.
I mean, I think we filled in most of the things.
Yeah, well, and if you.
I was kind of waiting to
you
see
were
what
a
other
fake.
people
Yeah, I
did.
just did it
so-
this morning.
Oh, well, jeez.
I filled in some,
This is
but
DPO.
you were
I
not
think
waiting
waiting
to
to
stop.
see if all the
DPO's
boxes were
good.
filled
We've
in,
got
yeah.
one
I was kinda
hole,
hoping.
2 holes on radio.
And I would,
Oh wait, here we go. What did you pull up, Steve? Committee assignments. You did
He
that
pulled up the
first.
Yeah.
PDF from the board docs though, right?
Oh.
Yeah, we want.
Oh, you want the
we
Google Doc.
Google
Yeah,
Docs
the Google
because
Doc, yeah.
I
All
put
right.
some stuff in this morning.
I'm gonna pull it open.
Do I do that?
Right there, your shared.
So I'm starting with the
Bam.
DPO radio.
Kim, what's it called?
It's in a folder. It's called board.
So DPO is covered. We've got at least
Here it
2
is.
board members at every DPO meeting, and in some cases 3. So I think
Okay.
DPO is good.
yeah, I would just, chat with maybe folks
There we go.
for the evening ones, just because those are the only ones like at all able to attend.
I got you.
To
You
see
see
if any of
Charlie?
those.
Yeah, I can.
It's the one I specifically did not sign up for.
Yeah, I
The
did, and I
evening one.
can't do the evening one generally. So, but so it
I'll
looks
ask if
like
anyone would be
Ruthina or Charlie.
For which committee again, Janet? Yeah.
So
We're on
the,
the DPO
the
one.
DPO, the only ones I'm able to ever attend are the evening ones.
And
Just
there's
Oh,
only-
okay, I can
and
do the daytime
And there's
ones,
only
yeah.
one evening one, Charlie, and that's
Yeah.
It'll be
in
on a
March.
different,
So would
different
you-
sheet. Steve.
Yeah.
I don't see another
Okay.
sheet.
In the
There's-
folder, there should be 3
There's-
sheets.
Yeah, there's 3 sheets in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's complicated.
Yeah.
So Charlie, I'm gonna swap you out,
There you go.
for JP
The one right next to that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
on the 11th, because,
Is that okay?
March 11th.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that, we've got,
Oh, look at that.
we've got directors covering all different DPO. We're good on DPO.
Okay.
So then we need a couple radio slots.
Thanks for filling in, Janet,
Yeah.
on the December one.
Yep.
I would have done it, and Paul said he
Oh, I
would have
meant
done
to-
it, but I had just done it the month before, and I was like, oh,
So I'll do the one next December.
So what has to be talked about at the radio slots?
Whatever you feel like,
So-
as long as it's district related.
No, you don't want that.
So I will tell you,
He'll have some questions usually, doesn't he?
He's nice, Jerry. He'll
Usually-
just chat
Jerry-
with you.
if Jerry's the one that's there,
Oh, he's
and
always
he's been
been there.
gone a
Oh.
couple times, but if he's there, usually he'll go in a little bit ahead of time. You come on, and the radio's off doing whatever it does,
Tell
and
him
he'll
the
just ask.
weather
He's
and
like,
blah, blah, blah.
"What kind of topics are we going to talk about today?" I mean, he'll open it
Okay.
up for you. You can give him a couple of highlights.
And
And
usually
then
it's
he's pretty good at having a conversation with
Yeah.
you,
Okay.
And
as
usually
opposed to an
he-
interview, really.
And just whatever we're talking about currently is what I've always done. So like I
Okay.
went last week and it was, I was all excited about the climate action, and the results that we got back from the survey. And I
Yeah,
talked
okay.
about that. I talked about our
Okay.
legislative priorities and shout outs to our elected officials
Oh,
and
okay.
that kind of
Okay.
thing.
All right. Okay.
Mhm. Just
Yeah, I mean,
whatever's
it's
current.
you're representing the board and giving an update for the board at that point, right? You're not,
Okay.
you're not having your own soapbox there, right? So you are really giving an update, but I try and find some positive things to talk about
Yeah.
because so many times there's
Right.
not,
Okay.
right? And the conversation gets really negative in a lot of places. So I try and highlight some of the cool things that are going on. We do talk about some of that negative stuff because he'll ask, he'll be like,
Yeah.
hey, I've been hearing this, you know, what's going on there? And you respond to it as best you can, right? But
Okay.
But they're fun. I
Okay.
actually like
Yeah, I
them.
It's
did
not a
that
lot
one.
of
It
time
was
in
fun.
the end, right?
It was good. Yeah,
You're on there
but
for all
it's-
of like
it's a-
15 minutes or something.
There's a lot of ag education last year, is what I heard.
Oh,
Probably.
right?
maybe,
But-
yeah.
All right.
I shout out for Dwayne this last time because of the geothermal and all the great, you know, the stuff we've done on the buildings from a
Oh,
emission
okay.
standpoint,
Good.
you know.
Okay. Okay.
Back to your point around positive stuff, I like to
Okay.
do that too.
Okay.
I
So
can-
do we have anyone that can do the one in January?
I was just gonna check my calendar and I can just do it if,
No,
doesn't work.
yeah, that one
And
I
I,
can
and
never
I
do.
just, I could, but I
Sometimes
just
I can do it
didn't.
during the summer,
yeah.
but
yeah.
that
I can,
just with my work.
I can go ahead and throw my name in there.
I wish
Oh,
I could, because
gosh.
they're fun.
Are you typing too?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
You can't prove nothing.
Okay, so we're all good.
All right.
So we're covered on DPO and, radio. So then, bill review.
Yeah,
Man,
let's
there's
do
a
that
lot
one,
of
'cause
bill
that was
review.
Which one is that?
Ruthina's
I got it open.
really
It's
asking
online one.
for it.
I gave him the documents easily.
Yeah, so, this is one where Paul has not signed up for any, so I'm just happy just to go put his name on.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
think you've got any
No,
either,
I
JP.
don't. Yeah, this is another one that's really hard for me to do. Oh,
Do we dare just put Paul's name down on some of
You know,
these?
put me on. In the summer.
So we've got July meetings that are open, and we've got September meetings, November.
I could do more. I try to sign up for like back to back in like a few different months, so
Yeah,
like
that's
both of
what
them
I
in
did
January
too.
and both in May or
Yeah.
something. So I can
Put
be
me
a
down in
second person,
July
but
for the July meetings. And you just get in before the meeting. That's the idea.
I've put it on my calendar to do it at noon on the Friday before our meeting.
Okay.
Because I just put it on there, so then something else can't fill the spot.
So I'll do
Which
this
has
one
worked
in
out pretty
January
good.
just to get that filled in.
Well, if you were looking at second board.
Oh, I'm putting Paul on some,
Oh, okay.
just because he hasn't, and then he can come in and edit. We'll just tell him to come in and edit. But don't you think? I'll give him
Oh, give
May and September. Poor Paul. That's what you get.
Must be present to
You
win.
know, put me in November too. Oh. Anyway.
And then we've got one in December.
I'll take it.
Alrighty. Cha-ching. Oops. Go away.
Does this work for you to fill this in here?
So what I found
And then the last one is
Here.
board committees.
Can you open it up, Charlie? From here.
Yeah.
If the word pops up, you have to then do this.
So I
And
think
then
we're
you can
good
type in it.
on,
Okay.
That's what I found.
Policy
I was
and
doing wrong the
governance.
first time.
we've got our ISB and UEN stuff. Commissions, Lisa's doing the assessors, conference board and evaluation committee. Charlie, you're doing the assessors examining board. Sean,
I think some of those we have to have two members.
oh,
When do
The
they?
assessors
When do
assessors
they
and the
meet?
assessors evaluation. Pull up a thing here. I can
Do you have to be a resident of Iowa City?
That's what I was just remembering, so.
Because-
Oh.
Yeah,
Is
city
it-
ones you have to.
Yeah.
Because as we found out, Lisa is
Not.
Not.
she's
This is an
cool.
account.
Rural.
She's-
She's county.
Rural Johnson.
Oh, I'm
now, I don't know what
too.
their
You're county too? Oh shoot.
she,
So let's see.
Who's that? Charlie?
her
Paul?
address says Iowa City, but she
Ruthina.
says she's technically
Ruthina.
not in
Yeah, she
Iowa
does-
City.
She does in
So I don't know if she
I
can.
can't vote in
be
city
one.
council.
Paul. Lucina. Yeah, Paul.
Oh, Paul,
Lucina,
yay!
And,
Isn't
Charlie,
Paul at
Charlie.
Coralville?
what?
Paul's in Iowa City.
Oh, he lives
He's
in
gonna
Paul's in Iowa
hate
City.
me.
Sorry, okay, all right.
Charlie, do you want to do? That?
So just an FYI, and I don't know why, but, so I'm currently the representative for the district on the assessors examining board.
I think we have an admin rep and board
Okay,
reps.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's, I remember
I
that,
was
yeah,
like, I
right.
think I'm on those, so I went to.
Okay,
do
time
those-
out, time out. The Iowa City Assessors Examining Board, you're right, Chase. Requires one member, must be a resident of Iowa City, can be an employee of the district, cannot be on the Assessors Conference Board, and cannot be a school board member.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
one.
Oh.
Yep.
So I've been.
Meeting only
So
held to
change-
give
so take that
examinations
one
to
out.
select assessors.
So
So
Charlie, do you want to do the assessor's conference instead? For evaluation?
Yeah, that would be, yeah, I can do that. I don't mind that.
JP, I don't know that they meet very much. I
So-
was the rep before I went to Virginia,
Yeah.
and I remained the rep, and they didn't meet the entire 2 years.
Okay, it's like a once in a
So
while.
it's an easy assignment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
already
figured those
fulfilling
would
my
be easy.
Johnson County Assessor one this week.
There you go.
So we need another
Meeting on
person
Thursday.
for this evaluation committee.
So Lisa wants to be on Black
Was she-
Voices.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's
I think they've
Wait,
asked
it
for.
has to be Ruthina. Who else is at Iowa City?
which
It's
one are you
just
looking
Charlie.
at?
Unless you
Ruthina
want
and
to
Paul.
do the evaluation committee too? Charlie?
Which,
they kind of
which
go
committee is
hand in
that?
hand.
It's the one right below it, the assessor's evaluation. Again, I don't think they meet much.
Oh, okay. No,
And we-
well,
I don't
the
think-
assessors did, those, that's not a lot of work.
So I
No,
think
you
I think
shut
it's the
I mean, what do you do there?
So-
the Johnson
evaluation
County
committee?
assessors. They have a only because I did it 2 years ago. I know this that they have a board that meets that has I don't know 20 or 30 people at it, right? And there's members of school board from all of the different
Okay.
county school districts as well as mayors from all over the county and everything else. But then there's also a Johnson County assessor evaluation team, which I assume is what the difference is there. It's only listed at once for Johnson County, but that's actually just 3 of us.
Right.
It's
yeah.
somebody from the Iowa City School District.
Uh-huh.
It's somebody from Johnson County Supervisors,
Oh.
and I think this year's Janelle. And it's one of the local mayors, and it's John Lundell. So it's only 3 of us that actually do the evaluation for the assessor himself, the person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the whole team does another thing. And
Yeah.
I'm making the assumption that that's the difference between line 12 and 13,
Okay.
is that one is doing an evaluation of the assessor, and the other one is
I
the,
think that's
I
right.
think that is.
Yeah.
like you're
Okay.
approving the budget for
Yeah.
the assessor
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
like that.
Right.
I can do coalition. How often does Coalition for Racial
I was
Justice?
gonna say, I was a member of the coalition for a long time since its founding. I'm not sure that I would consider that an active coalition right now.
Oh.
So.
Well, then I'll sign up for it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hands up.
So we could designate
We need
someone.
a second
to-
person.
The
You can
second
put me
one,
in there,
okay,
yeah.
but I'm not, I wouldn't anticipate that you'll do anything.
Okay.
The group
Okay.
I'm more familiar with there is that disproportionate minority commission that we
Yeah, right,
sent
Yeah.
a representative
right,
to.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's taken the place of.
Yeah, I don't.
No, it has, I wouldn't think of that as of the disproportionate minority commission taking the place of the coalition.
No.
It's a different, different set of things to do, to focus on.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So Ruthina signed up for curriculum review and the negotiations. I really like doing the negotiations, so I put myself down on all of those, whether that's
Okay.
reasonable or not. But I think it's fun and it's I think good. We've had good success, right?
Yeah.
With
Okay.
Do you
building
find
the
that
trust
definition of fun
and
in the
all of that.
dictionary?
What's that?
Do you find that definition of fun in the dictionary?
I'm a weirdo. You must know that by now.
Yeah.
What can I say? So I think we've got what we need on those. Meet and confer. That's like super fast and easy. That it was like 30 minutes, wasn't it, this last
Yeah.
year?
Mhm.
In your office, Chase? With
Yep.
Brady, it was like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do 2 board members go to the health insurance, or do we just like want an alternate?
I think we've always had an alternate.
Okay, I'll be the alternate.
Because, yeah, this
I
was-
used to be on that
Yeah,
committee.
you've.
this one is
experience on it.
I was on
interesting,
that for-
isn't it?
I like it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Paul's
it's,
really
good.
enjoyed going
It's-
to it.
It's important.
Well, it's a
It's an
highly,
important one.
it's a highly effective, high functioning team.
It
And
which
is.
how
is
often does it
fun to
meet?
work
Once a
with.
month.
Once a
The
month.
first
It is
Monday of every
monthly, so
month
it's a-
at
Mhm.
4 or 4:30.
What day?
The
The
first
first
Monday.
Monday.
It's on there.
Where does it? Oh, I see it right over there. Yeah.
And it's actually more important
That
now
might
than
be
it's
hard
been
for
in the
me.
past, because with insurance now being a prohibited item of bargaining, the insurance committee is like the governing
Yeah, no, I
body,
wanna do, but if
so-
we've got a backup, cause 4 o'clock, I might not always be able to make it.
Yeah, I would just
think it's
need to know
4:30.
at the
It's,
time.
I think
and
you're
then
right, Jason, I think it's
4:30.
4:30.
4:30, and it's at the ESC, so.
Okay, that's
Either way, I'll
easy.
have to know if you can't make it, just because I would have to make some arrangements, but
Alright.
I can do that.
Should we put a third alternate down, just in case, since it's an
I think
important
it would be
committee,
helpful,
and
yeah.
who wants to be the third on the list?
I could do that.
It's, yeah, I mean, it's very important now, and you just really
Well, this
understand the
is
health
good,
insurance
because
benefit.
if it's good because of it being prohibited, then those of us on this committee as options are also in the negotiations, so
negotiations,
it's
Yeah.
good. Okay, who wants to do IPM?
And keep in mind, remember IPM heavy lift, it was meeting all the time 2 years ago, and then less last year, and significantly less this year, so just
I
keep
don't
that in
wanna
mind
do
when you're thinking
IPM.
about.
Who's-
commitment.
Who's scheduling those? Is it somebody
Dave?
like Ben or?
Dave McKenzie.
Yeah, Dave McKenzie or
But
Ben
it'll
Grimm is
move,
scheduling.
it's probably
them.
gonna move to Ben in the next 6
Yeah.
months.
I can join that one.
Okay. So that won't, because they have all the framework in place right now, it's more monitoring
Kind of
than
a
anything
check-in,
else.
sort
Yeah.
of.
Okay. Are we good?
Let's go back up to the equity committee. JP, you
Oh,
think
is this
we're
where we
okay
get arm
with,
wrestle?
do you
Where
think
is
we're
the
okay with
committee?
doing 2 people there?
Yeah, of course.
We're not even a seat anymore.
Equity District.
It was it's down.
Oh, it's advisory committee.
There we go, yeah,
Yeah.
JP and Charlie, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
The very top,
Oh crap,
there's
I've got to get that.
financial
bill
oversight
list.
committee, but is that not
That-
just us?
Yeah, we don't have that.
What?
Reviewing the bills?
That's just-
I think that's the bill
It's
review
the bill
type
review.
thing, yeah, that probably
Oh,
could come off
okay.
there.
And if there's a different way you all wanna look at bill review, let me know, unless I can work on that if it needs to be done any
I
differently.
think it's fine, I actually sort of like the new format that came out of the new system.
System?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know what about y'all, but
I enjoyed doing it last time because I was in a little cubicle and I felt like I was part of the whole team. Went, got in my
I
little
just walked
cubes.
into someone's office
I was
not
a little
long ago
disturbed by
because you
the,
moved it
uh,
from that one
Red
conference
biohazard
room,
bin that was under the
and
desktop.
you put someone in there.
Ben's in there.
Oh God, I like marched into his office. I'm like, oh, sorry.
That's all right, he's back
And
in.
then you wind up talking
We're
about
about to
trees.
About to move them again, so. Yeah, they've been on the move as we're ripping up stuff.
Okay, all right, well, so that's
Okay.
positive, yay, we got all that done, thank you. That's fantastic. So now we're gonna talk about, how we want to structure vision, mission work. I think we weren't getting into any, meat and potatoes around, it was just sort of like steps and process, was that,
Yeah.
what folks wanted to cover? And so, I mean, I just marched out some ideas early this morning in terms of what a structure might look like, and so this is total strong person. And I've had some folks in the community offer to come in and do some facilitation if we were to do a vision mission statement kind of work, so like, ICAD just did a bunch of people, got a bunch of people trained in strategic doing. Which is kind of an agile leadership implementation. So instead of strategic planning, you actually do, you just don't plan. And so they got a whole bunch of people certified, and Mark offered to come and lead a visioning mission generation session. And I mean, I don't know, it's just an idea. I think it would be useful to have a facilitator who's got skills in helping people kind of craft what a mission looks like, and do that first, and then come back with a vision, do that second. But and it's not Harry, bless his heart.
I was just gonna say, we did this once.
Yeah, and it's not him. I mean, he's great, but I mean, we need someone who's got some experience in this kind of work, I think, to be effective at it, and otherwise we just kind of wander and.
And just FYI, I know you'd asked, why did I just blank on his name?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember his name
Guy
either.
from Solon, who moved.
Crap.
Dick
Schwab.
And he has full-time relocated to northern Wisconsin and politely declined.
Yeah, no, I mean, he would have been great because he did strategic planning for a living and also with that school board experience. But I mean, if you're interested, I can follow back up with Mark Nolte from ICAD to see if someone from that team that got trained would be willing to come in. I mean, I honestly think if we want to move on this, sort of expeditiously, intentionally, we probably need another retreat in January to get started. And so, if you think, and I think he would do it gratis, so that's something else that's useful, that it would be
Right.
not an expense.
I think a facilitator experience, knowledgeable, is helpful.
And I think,
One
just as an
to-
FYI, I'm pretty sure that the last time we were looking at this, we also talked to some people from the university. So I wanna say it was Tippy College of Business.
Oh,
that
they
had some
probably got
folks.
people that know how
Yeah,
to do
they-
this too.
And I don't know if I talked to Ken or who I talked to out there, but they had
Oh,
a
Ken
couple.
Brown could do it.
Yeah,
Let's
they
get
had-
Ken.
Yeah, they had a couple
Oh,
people.
Ken's a
that
good
they said-
guy.
Yeah.
So
I'd
do you-
happy to reach out to him if you want me to.
So should we, I'll talk to Mark and you talk to Ken
Yep.
and then reconnect, here in the next, can we, as a group of four anyway, kind of pick a day that might work for a retreat, just to kind of get it on our calendars?
Mhm.
That way we can communicate with these external folks at the time that we're looking at.
Right.
I know people don't like meeting on Saturdays, but I just have to confess, this sort of work after a day of work is
Mhm.
really hard for me.
I think like a 2 to 3 hour on a Saturday morning is not bad. I think everybody's fairly fresh. I mean, yeah, it's a Saturday, but
Like
if people are in the
9
mindset to get stuff done.
I'm okay with
Like a
that.
9 to noon or something like that?
Yeah, something
I
like
can do that. I'm super down.
The only Saturday I couldn't do it in January is the 25th, but any other one I could do.
Uh,
Maybe the 11th
Start there, try.
or the 18th, either one of those.
The 18th is Martin Luther King Day weekend.
Oh,
That-
let's do,
Yeah,
let's
we can
do the 11th then.
Okay.
Tentatively 9 to noon on the 11th for a retreat, and we'll see if we can get someone to facilitate. And so the goal would be to, get some crafting around a mission statement, and then wording around a vision statement. And then.
I think not just the statement though, I think really
It's the-
getting at the heart of what
I agree.
is our vision, right? And we have the Battelle stuff, right? And what a graduate looks like. But I think it's really what do we want, right?
Mhm.
Big picture stuff and
Yep.
more than you're gonna get in a statement.
I agree.
Right? Almost like an addendum, like all these different belief statements that you'll see sometimes. You'll have your mission and then all your belief statements that go with it. Like that's the stuff that I think we need to tease out. So we could write a mission statement. It's going to be fairly vague anyway because that's kind of how they are, right?
Yeah.
But we really need to hammer out all that other stuff. I
I
do
agree.
like the idea of having a facilitator because it is a huge lift to do this, and all of us are like, I don't even know where to start. And so then you don't do anything.
But
right?
you're
So
right,
I
we
think
have to
it-
start big
having-
intentionally, where we wanna be 5, 10, see you Chase, happy holidays.
Yes, happy
Yeah,
holidays.
me too.
You know, 5, 10 years from now, and it's a lot of big ideation and whiteboarding, and then from all that output and discussion is then you start winnowing it down to the few words that you have in a statement.
Right. I like what you said about those belief statements. I mean, that's kind of the motto we have now.
Yeah.
Just it hasn't been
Mhm.
updated in a while. You have the statement that's the umbrella, and then, like you said, what are those big rocks that are the belief statements for us that we want to make sure are connected
Yeah.
to the work we're
Yeah.
moving
And that
way.
flows down because I noticed it when we did a curriculum review. The different areas have that exact same thing, right? They have a mission statement or a vision statement or both, and then they have all their belief statements. And they went through all of it every time,
Wow.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So we're like, all right, is our
Super
mission
grounded.
statement still good? Let's look at all these belief statements. Do we need to change any one of these? Add one, remove one, whatever. And that was really how they were doing their curriculum review, so that they were all pointing in the right direction.
Mhm.
The actual curriculum itself was then secondary. Like that was the next piece they did, right? So they wanted to
That's
make sure they were all
interesting.
pointing in the right direction, and then figure out how curriculum fits those. Which is, I mean, if we're gonna have this kind of everything funnels up to the top, we might as well model that same
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
strategy.
I do too. So if
So what do you
we-
think of the current mission, vision, belief
I just,
statement?
I just think we need to review it. I mean, no one knows who wrote it.
Right.
No one,
It predates me substantially, so Kim and I cannot provide you with authorship on it.
or even the context around what was discussed when it was
Nope,
created.
I reached out to Lane and he did not have a lot of feedback on it, so I'm not sure
Okay,
when it
so
was
it's
written.
definitely need.
It's time. I think it's
To-
time. And so then I was sort of thinking as a process, again, this is just me early morning ideating, you know, we've got a very engaged community. If we come up with a straw person of our mission, vision, or whatever we call it, and then these principles or belief statements, kind of like we did with the boundary work, I'm wondering if there's like a deck we put together and that we actually take it out to our stakeholder groups and we can kind of divide and conquer, you know, as directors with staff, if you want to participate, and just kind of check the, you know, we all go out and have those discussions, get the feedback, then bring it back into another
Be
work
easier than
session.
talking about boundaries.
Huh?
Be easier than talking about boundaries.
It will be easier than talking about, but it hopefully will get some excitement.
More warmly, right?
But some excitement about the vision,
It's all
where we're
relative, right,
going,
Right.
and I was thinking, you know, that could be, you know, we build the deck, we have our list of stakeholders, schedule the sessions, just like we did with the boundary stuff, and kind of
Right.
cover those activities in the February, March timeframe, and then get to the point of March-ish, you know, refining based on all the feedback. And, you know, clearly we'll wanna vote on this at some point, you know, so it's public, and we'll have to, you know, have a discussion at a board meeting, maybe a work session to get all the feedback kind of collated from our engagement, and then come back to a board meeting and vote on, what this material looks like, so we're very public about it. And then we use that mission, vision, belief statements to start working on, looking at our strategic plan. Are there any things that we might need to modify there? Look at our priorities or themes for the next academic years. We start getting into goal setting, kind of in that May-ish timeframe, right? You know, so, I mean, I think just being thoughtful, getting by the end of March, this stuff approved, maybe it goes into April, but having it in place before we start doing goal setting for the next year. Or F&P work, if that's what we want to do
Maybe. I mean, it
next.
all kind of has to dovetail together, right? We can't wait until each step is done before we start talking about the other things, right? Like, I don't think we can wait until we have all this done before we start talking about FMP, right? We definitely have to have it done before we finish talking about FMP. But I think there's some things that we can do at the same
Sure.
time, right? There are things in buildings, like we use
Yeah,
hills
like
as the
the parts of the
example, right?
FMP that
There are
are
things that need to get done,
roofs.
period.
So we can start,
So
I agree with
we
you,
have
so
some
we
of
can
it.
have some work sessions happening during this
Right.
vision mission work, where we're getting some stuff on paper around FMP. I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, because especially the simple stuff with the FMP, which would be just the needs, the just straight up
Yeah,
needs that
absolutely
aren't
right.
have to do with.
Well, we have to take care of hills. We have to do something in hills,
Yeah, so
No, that-
our
no.
mission statement probably isn't going to preclude us from doing
Yeah.
something at Hills.
But
just
if we
because
were
right.
talking about magnet schools, articulating
Yes,
through elementary to
that
high
would-
school.
middle school or
and-
childcare centers, that's all.
That
Needs
would
We
to
be-
come
need to have
from
the
this.
mission first. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that because we have to do the FMP, we're going to have to prioritize the list of needs that are just roofs and hills and
yeah.
parking lots or whatever. Anyway, and that's going to take some time, and then we're
We've
also-
started working on
And
a
money.
draft for you, just so
Oh,
you
yeah,
Okay.
we've
have.
already got, how
Because
much
we've got the
money,
list,
how
right?
much did
So-
Wayne estimate we already have in our backlog?
Step one, find pot of gold.
How
add
much?
whatever you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so let's pick out what we can afford. That'll be a short list.
No, let's.
now we wanna
let's
know how much
decide-
money we
let's pick
wanna
out
go
what we
after for a
need and then
bond.
figure out a way to afford it.
Amen.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
And
way.
so January 11th, I think we said 9 to 12. We're gonna work on getting a facilitator to help us with that,
Okay.
and then we're gonna do, based on that conversation, we'll sort of figure out the more specific next steps. But generally, the idea of a deck and stakeholder outreach by board members.
You know, one thing this mission might influence is like Roosevelt, like a decision like that. You know, that our mission vision might have an impact on an ultimate decision.
That's fair.
You know,
What I would like to end that retreat with is, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
Because I think that's where we really faltered when we did it with Harry. We threw these ideas and had
then
stuff
we
written on
just-
all these sheets, you know, boards, all these different thoughts, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh, these are all great ideas, and then it went in a pile, and then
It just
never
yeah, we moved on
went
to other
anywhere
stuff.
after that. So we got to make sure that we don't leave there without knowing
Right.
what's next.
yep, next steps.
And we didn't have the experience of doing the boundary stuff in terms of the outreach and engagement, you know what I mean? I think we actually did that fairly well, and so if we just use that model again, so.
Going on
agree.
talking about pairing schools, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay, so are we good on
Energetic
next steps there?
conversations.
Do you think? Does that feel okay?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So then the next item was succession planning, and this is around, the superintendent process. And this is another thing that's gonna have to sort of happen in parallel, and it's a little bit unknown, from a timing standpoint, and I feel like there are some things that as a board, not knowing timeline, we need to do some things kind of, proactively, because if, Steve, you find the job of your life, you know, we might not have a superintendent come next fall. So I think there's some things that we need to do as a board to get prepared for that, but then also knowing we may not need to hire a new superintendent for the next school year, and so we have to be able to get to a point where we can just kind of put things on hold. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be an interesting process, and I think just being very open and
I had
intentional about our
A brief
steps.
chat, was actually at the UEN banquet. I was sitting with Nancy from Cedar Rapids.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, the interim.
They're looking for a new
They are.
superintendent, and she was talking about how they have an interim, and she's like, they did their due diligence of making sure they got a good interim, and she kind of advised, just from experience, that that is a way to go in order to give you the time to do it right,
Mhm.
the search part.
Mhm.
She's like, you should probably assume that you're going to have an interim.
That's fair.
Just because you may not be able to do a search and get all the candidates in that you like.
And it's a
Even
little
if you're
bit
totally
weird.
intentional about it, it may fall through. So she's
And
like,
because we don't
chances
know
are,
the timing,
you'll
it's a
have
little
one.
bit weird. It's not like we wanna go out and do a big recruitment or whatever, only to say, oh, well, never mind, maybe we'll call you back next year, kind of thing, right?
And I don't think she was saying it's an excuse to kick the can so you don't have to deal with it until later. I think it's just to be aware that it's a likely scenario that you will have to have an interim.
Well, and I think
That
it's
was
worth
just
taking the
feedback.
time to do it right and to do it well, and if it's an interim, and that gives us the space and the time to really,
I think the Iowa City Council used an interim for both
Mm-hmm.
the last two
last two.
permanent city managers,
Yeah.
right?
um,
Pretty, fairly effectively.
How,
it seems.
so having that conversation as a part of, we want to be able to, if Steve finds a job,
Yeah.
to be able to start moving,
Mhm.
and start the process, but at the same time, not feel that I don't want to rush it. I just don't want to rush it. I don't want us to say, oh, we have to get someone hired in place. I'm super open to an interim.
Do we
For that
feel
reason.
There's no way to select a superintendent in a 6-month timeframe, is there?
I don't think so. I guess you could get
I can't
super
think,
lucky.
I can't see that happening, especially
I
if we want to have.
don't know
committee.
what's typical.
You can, and it happens regularly.
Yeah.
Part of the process is what happens on the front end.
Yeah.
So some communities will do their process of developing a profile in like 2 weeks. I'm not sure that's a good fit for our district.
We wanna get our mission vision stuff and our,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, we want that in
Yeah,
place.
we're too picky for that, for sure. We
I'm just
we have some
offering it up.
opinions,
That might be
we have
too
an
short a
engaged
time.
That would,
community.
I don't
They're gonna
see
wanna
that.
have a voice and a say.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would make the same argument that we had last week, where I said you could craft your crisis response policy and then find the person to run that policy, or you could find the person to help you craft the policy. Right, so you can look at, we can create our mission and vision and get all that done and then find the person to execute it, or we can find the person that's gonna help us craft it. And right, it's the same argument.
Yeah.
My personal
So what
feel
do
is
you
that
prefer?
we are going to come up with what our mission and vision is, because I think we're just gonna wanna do that first.
And I think our
And I-
community's
we-
gonna have,
we know
is
our-
gonna wanna
our
weigh
community.
in, and I think it's an important baseline to have to launch to whatever the search process is, that,
Yeah.
kinda to your point, you talk about, it's the school board who kind of is the owner, and, the superintendent just comes in and follows the rules the board puts in place. I think we have to own the community engagement, we're elected officials, we need to, you know, make sure our constituents are happy with where we're leading this district. The superintendent, we will want to bring in the new person who's got the skill set and the experience to deliver on the mission and vision that we established for our district. I mean, clearly there's a relationship there. But I don't think we can punt and say, we're just gonna wait and hire someone to craft that for us. If we do that, then we're not owning our responsibilities, my humble opinion.
Well, and as we go
Right.
out to the community with this mission and vision work, I think that will inform, you know, that's gonna help inform the process of, well, okay, obviously the superintendent's going to carry out the mission and vision, and so getting that, I think that'll help that process, allow us to
And-
get a lot of that engagement.
And
ahead of
honestly,
time.
whoever the new person is will have experiences, and we're not gonna be rigid about it. If they have ideas for shifting, tweaking, making it their own, we'll work with that person, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but I do think it's our job to take that strategic view, and articulate it and do the hard work to make sure our
Yeah.
community's engaged with that.
They would come in with their ideas of how to fulfill
Yeah.
Right.
that mission and vision.
That's right.
Implementation.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that might help, I mean, if you're a candidate, that'd be nice to know, what's the vision of the district?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, for sure, yeah, and I'd want,
And not
I'd
like,
want candidates to know that,
they
yeah.
want you to fit
So where
yourself
does, if we're just kind of talking process, I guess, today, right? Where does everybody land on a search firm? You know, we immediately got
in. A few
They're like the
emails.
Four emails or
vultures
something, 4 different
circling. I mean, I was
companies
getting
saying, "Hey,
emails
pick
like
me,
within
pick
an
me."
hour of your message.
I,
It's disgusting. I was appalled by that. I mean, I was appalled by that.
so it made me feel a little negative getting them all, right? Like, oh, these
Just waiting.
vultures. But at the same time, I personally don't know how you do it without.
Yeah, I think we do,
Something
but
like
it's
that,
the
but
timing
I-
thing that I think is weird.
Well, how about
So
Cedar Rapids, have they done a search firm yet? No?
I'm not.
Janet, they probably
Sure.
didn't pay attention to the date.
they probably didn't pay
And so-
attention to the date.
Yeah.
I'm not
So,
sure.
but-
what-
so, so if
that's
we're,
why.
if we think that an interim approach is what's gonna give us the time we need to be thoughtful and really do a good, strong process, then I'm not feeling a sense of urgency in finding a search firm today. I mean, if we were looking for a superintendent for starting
Oh,
July
yeah.
1, my hair would be on fire.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
And that's why they emailed you like they did.
But
Oh,
if we're
sorry.
saying we like the interim approach, it gives us that, you know, buffer to keep things going
Mhm.
well and effectively while we do an intentional search, then maybe, I don't know what the proper time, I don't know the cycle of hiring, but like summer, start trying to find a firm that we
Yeah.
do an RFP
And
and
actually, you're
interview
better off
different
with that
groups
because
and.
you're in front of the curve then, because the firms are, right now, they are in front of boards all over
Oh,
the
yeah.
country, interviewing. And the reason that they descend on you like they do is there's really 4 or 5 big firms and they are constantly at each other's throats. So, you'll have them in their
So if
downtime,
they
you'll
could
get them
get
at their
through this
best.
current
you'll be able
hiring
to-
cycle for
Okay.
fall 20,
Yeah.
then say July, we start going through a search process to find an
RFP.
RFP and get them kind of interview them, bring them in, make our selection, say August, and then we can start the process with basically a good 9-10 months to work our way through it.
Okay. Does the IASB have anything to offer in terms of that?
Maybe like, do they have like simple RFPs?
They
for-
don't, they used to have a search wing and they really stopped that, so there's a couple of people in Iowa who do it, then they tend to focus mainly on Iowa schools and small schools and kind of shuffling the deck chairs around in the Titanic, moving districts from here to there. And then you've got a group of like 4 or 5 really large national firms that go coast to coast.
Well, this also gives us the opportunity to budget next
Absolutely.
year for this expense,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. I like that timeline. I mean, I think, I sure as heck don't want to shuffle the deck chairs in Iowa. Not that we couldn't find great folks, but those people can apply in a national search too.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm, college town,
Yeah.
if you're willing to deal with the weather, maybe you don't have to come from the Midwest, but, not opposed to local folks, but then, obviously having our dream of just the right fit, the perfect fit. But it would give me a lot of, it would calm my nerves too if we had an interim and we know that we can steady the ship for a year, budget out, be really planful.
If you leave, we may not have to have it interim depending
Well,
on what Steve does, so it's
If
just.
Steve's still here, we're still gonna do that.
Right.
Then the
search
timeline is the
process,
same.
Exactly, yeah.
So either way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we don't have to worry about rushing anything with either of those scenarios.
Yes,
And if,
agreed.
and we're 4 people here who seem to be really comfortable with that, and I haven't heard, I mean, I haven't talked to anybody else about it, but I don't.
Yeah,
Can't
and
imagine
we,
being
I don't
able to
think we
rush.
wanna get too far down the line without the rest of
Right.
the
Agreed.
team here, but I think it's fair to figure out, all right, what is it we would look for in doing an interim? Or that person, what do we want, and how would we go about doing that? Because it's one thing to say, oh, we'll totally just do an interim and we'll worry about that later, right? But, I mean, that's a process too. So I
Yeah, sure.
think we need to have that conversation with everybody is, okay, what are we gonna look for,
If we need it.
right?
I mean, we've got 2 scenarios. One, we need an interim because Steve finds the dream job and moves on sooner, or not.
Or we may need one regardless, right? If the process
True.
to find one, it just takes longer than you think it's
Well,
going to.
that's
you
true. If
may
we
need
start,
one
if we start
regardless.
next August and we don't get anyone by next July, then, or July 21, then you're right. I would hope that we, anyway, yeah.
I'd hope we would, but maybe not. And I think, you know, I don't know, I think it's, you know, even if we get a few candidates and we interview them all, I think we should feel comfortable if we don't feel one's the fit to say, let's go back with it.
We'll get all kinds of community
Well,
stuff
and yeah,
thrown
then how
at
do
us,
we,
you know,
yeah.
why, how come you can't do this? But the district will be in better hands if we select, eventually come up with a superintendent that.
Yeah,
is
if we
what
rush
works
it,
well
you're
for
just
this
rolling
superintendent.
dice, and I'm not interested in rolling dice for, that's too
So we
important.
should probably have a discussion item at a board meeting where we talk about the intentions here, because I don't know about y'all, but I get questions all the time. When are you starting the search?
Okay.
And, you know, just to be.
And I think it's fair just to even give an update to the rest of the board members that weren't here tonight, kind of the
I
things we
agree.
talked about. And we can do that at the very next meeting.
Let's just do it that
right?
at
And
the
just
next
say,
meeting.
here's the stuff we talked about. We got a problem with that?
Yeah, maybe an update at the 14th meeting.
I'll put that on.
I mean, obviously, we didn't land on specifics or anything, so I think it's more process-based, right? And let everybody know that that's kind of what our intentions are. I think that's important.
And hear what everybody else thinks, the other board.
I do think you're right, Janet, about working through the vision process this spring.
Because that's going to take time to do it well, you know?
Yeah.
That's good. So I'll send an email to the board about the January retreat, just so that Ruthina and JP and Lisa know that time.
I'm here,
Hopefully
but-
it's okay. Did I say JP? What did I meant Ruthina?
Paul.
Paul.
You might want to mention to
my
Paul that
middle
you signed
name
him
is
up for
actually
some
Paul.
I'm
stuff.
gonna go look at all those sign-up sheets.
I'll put
I think in the
committees
end, we
on.
just put him in there
I'll
for some
put committees
bills,
on
but-
so you can attach that to the next agenda so you can see that too.
We should attach that to it.
I think that's probably a good idea. And I'll email them too, that I signed them up for
That
stuff.
was you.
We could
I'll say it was me.
just wait till
We
it's
need to
first.
mention probably to Lisa that she was taken off the one because she didn't have to be.
Wrong answer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Not
Like,
yet.
oh, she'll be bad at it or
Deselected.
something. There was a reason we did it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll let them know about the January meeting. We'll post the committee assignments at the next board meeting too? Or no?
Yeah, we can put them on the 14th so
Okay.
people see that. I
Alright.
think that's just helpful for people out in the community. to look
Yeah.
at. I mean, we post them anyway, but that way
Have
if
it
they're
in a
looking
nice
for 'em.
spot that's easy to find.
Yeah,
Yep.
And it's
okay,
filled in.
yeah.
And adopting the CDEIP, is that right?
C-dip.
CDE.
DEI.
Huh?
No, it's-
Diversity,
it's
inclusion.
the
Diversity, equity, and inclusion
Equity.
plan.
Oh, so
I'm
no
calling
C,
it
all right.
the CD.
DEI, okay, sorry.
That's what
CD.
you want it to be?
Well, that's
CDEI?
It could be pronounced.
Oh, 'cause
Diversity,
I-
equity,
yeah.
and inclusion
See,
plan.
deep sea would be even cooler.
Gloria Day.
Sounds like we're all
That
going
would be
scuba
the
diving.
C Day.
So, but that should
See
be
the Greek,
done
right?
rather rapidly.
DEI.
Or Latin.
That'll be fast.
DEI.
The C-dip isn't as
I
cool as
just,
C.
it's an action, yeah, it'll be super fast.
Because like you see
Deep. Ooh,
Well, I
very
think
nice.
we're officially off topic.
Okay.
And it's an easy acronym to
Is there a
say.
motion
I like
to
that.
adjourn?
I like
So moved.
Yeah, quickly.
Second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yay. Very efficient. Thanks, folks. Happy holidays, everyone. Folks, happy holidays, everyone. Folks, happy holidays, everyone. Folks, happy holidays.